Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. And this is England versus USA preview. But yeah, England versus USA preview for tomorrow. I've got some guests with me. One of them is here. Manny, how you doing, Manny?
Sorry about that. I'm mute. Yeah. All good, all good, all good. You know what? Forget about the politics surrounding the World Cup. I mean, obviously, I can't forget about them because I know that I'm obviously aware of them and cognizant of them. And obviously, I have my opinions of them. But, the key is to just, treat this tournament as a football spectacle, enjoy the games as they are. And when you see skill like that from Richarlison, it's worth it. It just goes to show if the first half is boring, do not leave your seat. Glue your backside to your sofa and enjoy the second half. You won't regret it.
100%, 100%, 100%. We're also meant to have Elliot, but he will be joining soon as he is fixing his issues there. But yeah, let me just go through the comments. Smash the likes, guys. You know the stuff. You know the drill. Smash the likes. Subscribe for new. Let's big up, man. Big up yourself. Craig, big up yourself. This panel. Big up yourself. Craig, just subscribe to your channel. I appreciate it. And now we do have, hopefully his Wi-Fi is better now. Elliot.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah, not all good now. All good. Yeah.
And now you put me in trouble. This is a punishment for coming late. I'm under arrest.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have some issues, but obviously tomorrow the big game. Well, so every game's a big game in the World Cup, but England USA. I think last time we had them in the World Cup, we drew, and they got top of the group as well. So I hope we don't have a repeat of that this year. I'm sure we won't. I think we'll beat them tomorrow, but we'll see.
100%, 100%. But yeah, man, guys. But yes, telling me, man, tomorrow, you guys confident. Obviously, there's already David Ornstein already came out and said Southgate is expected to play the same lineup with no changes. So listen, I'm not surprised. For me, yes, the same because we were very good against Iran. But listen, Manny, man, is it coming home? Should England fans believe? Should we be confident for tomorrow?
No, they shouldn't. Let them negotiate this group matches against an impressive USA side and a Welsh side who will definitely be up for playing against them, and then we'll see. And we see a comment from Craig saying that he would definitely start Foden against Mount against the USA. A good call because I think it's fair to say that Mount never really had much of a sniff, while Foden can certainly provide a lot of impetus. There's possibly an option for Grealish to maybe come on, although maybe the idea is that he is better off as a sub. And it's funny how, instead of being the first name on the team sheet, the number 7 has now been reserved for a super sub. It was Theo Walcott in the 2012 European Championships, and now it's Jack Grealish over here in the 2022 World Cup 10 years on. Of course, Jack Wilshere wasn't really a super sub with the number 7 jersey in Brazil, but it is what it is. And I like Grealish coming on. I do like him coming on. I do think there's enough about him to start, but maybe his unpredictability means that he's condemned to being on the bench. But that is a good call, and certainly we're going to discuss England's formation. Elliot, would you agree with that?
Yeah, obviously, USA is never really an easy game for anyone. Obviously, we saw earlier that they did draw against Wales. So, I mean, both teams are going to be tricky, and I think USA perhaps a bit more than Wales, but I still think we can go and beat both teams. It just depends how confident we are. I mean, obviously, I know Iran was pretty much definite win for us, really. I'd hope that we continue that, obviously, that confidence. If he does play the same team, that's good anyway, because these players have already adjusted to the World Cup. But maybe a few changes won't hurt, but we'll see.
Yeah, okay, 100%. Well, obviously. So, with your permission, Orest, I'm actually going to share the tactical formation that Southgate employed, and this is one of the best reasons why we have StreamYard.
Before you do,
present. Yep.
We do have a guest in the background. Yeah. Flair. We got Flair, you then?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. I'm in my Kit Kat at the moment, so it's kind of an awkward time for you to have me, but yeah, good, thanks.
You're having a break. You're having a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
Top bloke.
Exactly.
Although, I mean, if you're not yourself when you're hungry, you can always have a Snickers bar. I'm sure you'll know it used to be called Marathon back in the day.
I've got one next to me.
I actually do as
You've
well.
come prepared, haven't you?
Yeah.
He's got all the snacks, man. He's ready. He's ready.
Yeah, so I
Ready
will
for
share the
another
screen.
episode of Horace Talks Football.
Maybe I should come prepared. I mean, normally instead of chocolates, I have some grilled chicken because I do get hungry. But you know, it is what it is. Sometimes instead of sugar, you need to have some protein. Keeps you awake. But I will share the formation that Southgate employed. And one thing which made me happy was that he didn't opt to play Calvin Phillips in that position where Jude Bellingham was, and he didn't go to a back five, but instead stuck to a back four, because I think there were doubts about Kyle Walker's fitness. So Kieran Trippier obviously slotted in, and Jude Bellingham was occupying that position where Calvin Phillips normally would be, because Phillips simply didn't deserve to be in the squad at all. He only made 3 substitute appearances for City this season. Why Southgate took him on, I don't know. Maybe he wanted to show as much loyalty as he could to the class of the Euro 2020. A fat lot of good has done Phillips so far. He should be on the bench because Bellingham was outstanding. He and Rice worked together as a good duo, and they should keep their places. Now, Saka was on the right, Sterling was on the left, Mount in the middle, and then Harry Kane up front. Kane has been past fit to play. I would have liked to have seen Rashford come in. And this segues back to the call that Craig Malloy made. Mount over there is the central attacking midfielder. There is a sort of a case that he didn't really have much of a sniff, and so maybe Foden
He doesn't
should
deserve
come
to
on.
start next game.
Yeah, so Oris, I'd like to get your. What do you think about it? Would you pick Foden over Mount?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Listen, for me, if you're basing this season, Mount is not this. He doesn't deserve to start playing anyways. But for me, Foden should be starting having Mount, man. I mean, Southgate will have his favourites as usual, but for me, Foden deserves to start. But obviously, Southgate and Mount probably related. So yeah.
Right. And yeah, obviously, when you talk about his favourites, you have to talk about the elephant in the room wearing the number 6, Harry Maguire, whose form at Manchester United, as you know, Orest, has been rather choppy. But obviously, I couldn't see the England game because I was busy working. Those of you who saw that, what did you think of Maguire's performance? Did he look good? Was he okay?
He probably was one of the worst players on the pitch for us, really. He made quite a few mistakes, but
No, I disagree. I think he was one of our best players.
definitely second goal anyway, because that was shocking defending. Don't know what he was up doing in that second goal, but yeah.
Most of it, I would say it was Kieran Trippier's fault for some of the goals that we conceded. But yeah, Maguire, he had his off moments. You know, every defender has a moment or two every single game, and can't really criticize him for making a mistake all the time because every defender does it. And yeah,
Right.
I'd say he had a really good performance in that game.
He also did.
Yeah.
He also did have a bit of a knock, and you know, he should also be fit to start the game. But I'm just wondering if he also gets targeted, there might be some question as to who might, you know, possibly come on for him. And I think if we were to take a look at the
Ben
it was
White.
it was Eric Dyer who came on for him. So instead of Ben White from Arsenal or Connor Cody from Everton, it was Eric Dyer from Tottenham, much to the chagrin of Flair and myself, and I'm sure Elliot as well. I mean, I wouldn't say Eric was necessarily Dyer, but he might also could have shared some blame for the Iranian penalty. I'm not too sure about that. I really believe that Connor Cody is one of the unluckiest people because he's shown with his form for Everton this season that he can certainly be relied on. And but from several reports, his leadership off the pitch has been quite outstanding as well. Certainly encouraging the boys and you know, geeing them up with you, if you will. He reminds me in many ways of what they call a whip in a political party, who sort of gets everyone in line, gets everyone into shape, and sort of, you know, keeps everything running, if you will. And it was interesting to hear you say, Flair, that Trippier might have been partly at fault. Would you say that because he's a little bit more attacking than Kyle Walker, he might be prone to some defensive lapses?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, because he got into like the more of a pressing position. He was out of position, really, to be honest with you, like defensively. And as I've said in previous streams before about Southgate and how that he's changed his tactics, and he's looked at the critics about his defensive style of play and has said, look, boys, go out there, attack, hammer down on them. And I don't really think that there was much defensive structure in that game. Yeah, so definitely, you know, we need to work out more on the midfield, maybe-ish. Just make sure they're attacking and the defenders are staying back. But for me, the defenders, they just kept coming forward and pressing and pressing and pressing. Like, Harry Maguire, he deserves to be in the box, but, like, he was too far into the box, if you got what I mean.
Yeah.
So he was literally right in front of the goal most of the time. So, I mean, you know, Southgate has got to keep it balanced, I think, instead of just saying hammer down on them, attack. So, yeah, he's definitely got to change the tactics throughout the game. Maybe that'll make a difference, because if he doesn't do that, then it's just going to be the same old thing every single game. It's going to be us scoring a hatful of goals. However, we're still conceding a hatful of goals as well. So, as like what happened in the Iran game, I think definitely, you know, we saw that obviously Trippier, Maguire made mistakes, but that was only because Southgate chose to press them forward instead of maybe playing them in a defensive sense.
I get what you're saying, but here's the problem. When you take away Kieran Trippier, you pretty much take away the person who was responsible for taking England's set pieces, whether it's corners or free kicks. And of course, he opened his England account with a gorgeous free kick in the second round of last year's World Cup, I believe. So obviously, when it comes to attacking, I get what you're saying, Flair. He attacks a great deal. He overlaps beautifully and has a wonderful right foot, but he is prone to some lapses in defense. So would you be willing to, if Kyle Walker is fit, would you be willing to put that Manchester City defender in that slot instead of Trippier?
I mean, it depends, because if we was to maybe consider starting James Ward-Prowse for one game, then you know, we could play Walker at the back, and then Walker at the back, Trippier on the bench, and then James Ward-Prowse possibly in the midfield. So, because obviously James Ward-Prowse, you know, his free kicks for Southampton and stuff like that, he's been sensational. So, I mean, if he was to be our free kick taker, then yeah, I think you know, Trippier will start. No, Walker will start over Trippier, but only in the sense that James Ward-Prowse gets a start.
But then if Ward-Prowse gets a start, would you have him ahead of Bellingham or Mount?
Mount.
Good call.
James Ward-Prowse supplies more. He supplies more in the game, you know, going around the pitch and stuff like that. He definitely 100% is. I wouldn't say he's better than Mount, but he definitely has the right techniques and stuff like that to possibly add himself into the game and include himself and be a massive part of our midfield.
Interesting call there, Flair. I really like the way you think. Personally, there is some sense in what you say. I think maybe Southgate will, depending on the tactics he employs against the USA, and I will come to the US formation, he will possibly tell Trippier to try to cool it a little bit, because he knows that Trippier is good in attack, but he will need to possibly, you know, just tone it down a little bit and make sure he keeps up his defensive duties. And certainly, you know, if Saka's going to be on the
for that whole back line, though, to be honest with you, they've all got to stay back, and that was one of the problems that they had against Iran.
Yeah, I mean, Shaw also likes to get forward, and it was he who scored England's Open in the Euro final last year. So you might have a point. And of course, with Saka down the right, I'm not sure how. I mean, obviously, Trippier overlaps quite beautifully, but then Saka doesn't
back a little bit.
That's a bit of that might be a bit of a problem. You were saying.
It leaves a gap. To be honest with you, when Saka presses up, Trippier comes down. It leaves a massive gap in the right back and the left wing position. So then there's not defense and attack at the same time. So I think Trippier and Saka playing them both together isn't a good matchup for me. I think Carl
Yeah.
Walker definitely supplies. He supplies pace. Everything like that. And if Saka was to come back, maybe, come back into the defensive part of the pitch, then maybe Carl Walker can use his pace to make a run down the wing instead of Saka, when he's back and stuff like that. So, and Saka can come up when Walker makes the run. So, yeah, and overlap it.
Okay, interesting call. I really like the way you've thought about this, Flair. That's wonderful. Orest, Elliot, let me get your opinions, boys.
Yeah,
Orest, you want to go first?
Oh, okay.
So what is this? Oh, yeah, go on.
So if we're talking about the lineup in general, obviously with the back four, for me, Walker should be coming
Do they
in
need to stay back or come forward or what?
What, for the defense?
Yeah. So like,
I think we need to play
saying
with
that
a high line.
Trippier
you
comes
know.
forward and stuff like that, and there's not much defensive cover.
For me, I think we need to play a high line because I've never seen England play a high line on Southgate end. For me, I think it'll be nice to see play a high line, but also there's also doubts about playing high line because high line you can get caught out and then people will just hit on the counter. But for me, listen, with the back four, I would change it a bit. Obviously, Trippier off and Walker on, and then Luke Shaw. For me, I feel like he can get caught out too much because he likes to attack, and for me, he needs to stay back a bit with Luke Shaw, man, because he loves to attack too much. But obviously, with the midfield wise, for me, I do agree with Bellingham Rice. With Mount, I'd rather play either Phil Foden or Ward-Prowse isn't even in the squad, so I don't know about that. So
I thought he was.
No, he's not.
he didn't get pulled up. So
Okay, so
Really?
Flair, now you're in a spot. If not Ward-Prowse, then who?
There's only Phillips or Henderson.
Phillips isn't a good free kick.
me, I'll play Grealish as number 10 for me.
You could play Grealish at that position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you got to think about free kick takers. I didn't
Then
know
who do you
James
ask
Ward-Prowse didn't get called up.
For me, with free kick
Conor
takers,
Gallagher.
Trent?
No.
for me, Trent could only get in if he wants to play as the
Back
I
five.
don't know, number 8. But listen, we're not going to change that formation just for Jude Bellingham, for Trent, mate. So we're not changing formation for him. We're going to keep it like this. But Trent, I mean, he's good going forward, but I'd rather play him as a number 8 than right back. So maybe Trent, Bellingham, Rice. I don't know. This is weird for you guys, but for me, why not try that? Because Trent loves going forward, and sometimes he inverts when he plays from right back to midfield. So he likes to drop into that midfield position. So why not try that?
Hasn't Conor Gallagher got a good free kick on him?
Not sure.
No, I don't know, but I mean, obviously, if you want to, I mean, that's the risk you take when you drop Trippier because you end up dropping the guy who is adept at set pieces. But I do know that Bukayo Saka has a more than decent left foot on him.
Yeah, 100%.
And he has taken a few free kicks before, so maybe let's ask him to do it. So that could be a possibility. Now, but this formation, I think we can all agree, has to be maintained. It's the formation that both Arsenal and Manchester United have used. Certainly really useful when you want to press hard. And of course, Harry Kane should be fit, but if he isn't fit, Marcus Rashford comes in. No discussions. What do you say, boys?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
We got a comment from Adnan Podcast says, USA.
Yep.
Listen, mate. The chants are going to be nice from the England fans. The chants, I can't wait for the chants, man. For me, I've already seen it like viral, like saying, I'm not going to say here, but I've already seen some funny chants. But listen, obviously, it is a bit political, this game, because obviously England and USA is very political. But listen, for people that are saying it's easy, I don't think it's easy. It is easy, man. For me, USA will want to beat us, man. They're going to go all out. Because I think they draw their last game, so they have to win this game. So for me, it is not going to be like 3 or 4-0. So we have to take this seriously.
Yeah, I don't know how old you boys were when England and the USA drew in 2010 with Robert Green making that awful, awful error. And that, of course, resulted in him being dropped for David James. Well, you boys have dodged a bullet. You've dodged a bullet.
I know, I remember that game as well, to be fair. I slightly remember that game.
Yeah, and Green never really should have been picked. I mean, David James had pretty much sealed his position as the first choice goalkeeper before the tournament. Why Green was picked by Capello, I have no idea. And seriously, Capello was, a disaster, really, and even worse manager than Sven-Göran Eriksson. So, and then, of course, we had Roy Hodgson. But anyway, enough about
Sam
that.
Allardyce as well. Sam Allardyce, money, don't forget.
Well,
just one game. I mean, that's not really worth mentioning.
Guys,
and that
we forgot about James Maddison's free kicks.
Oh, yeah.
That's if he's fit to play, though.
Oh!
Well, yeah, I mean, the fitness obviously will.
So I'd play James Maddison over Mason Mount.
Yeah,
that could work. Yeah,
and then we get rid of Trippier. Put Carl.
By the way, Arsenal fans, do you still want Maddison?
I mean, I'd take him, but I don't think that, if we, depending on how far we get in the league this season, if we finish over, say, who wants him? What other clubs are contending for him?
Newcastle are interested as well. That's what I'm seeing. Newcastle.
I thought Tottenham was as well.
Tottenham as well, yeah.
Yeah. So if we finish above Tottenham, Newcastle, and stuff like that, then I'd say we have a higher chance. It depends, but whether if it's next window or the window after that, then I'm sure we could get him.
Mate, listen, I take him regardless. I mean, that person has come into his own.
Yeah, so did I.
In the latter half of the first half of the season, he scored some goals. He worked the magic of his right foot. He is quality. I would have him, full stop. But now we'll come to the USA's formation, and I was absolutely fortunate. I mean, not quite fortunate because I was rooting for the Welsh, but. This team, this very young team under Greg Berhalter really impressed me with their formation. And this was their formation, which they were able to maintain almost throughout the entire game. There was a little bit of controversy that the likes of Giovanni Reina and Jesus Ferreira weren't really picked to start. Instead, it was Josh Sargent and Timothy Weah. And of course, Jordan Morris came on at the 88th minute for Weah because they thought he could add some power. But one of these two could come into play. And of course, Brendan Aronson from Leeds came on as a sub. But this is a team, obviously, with a lot of Premiership experience. And as an Arsenal fan, I have to say that Matt Turner really had a good game in goal, only beaten by Bale's penalty, which, it was lucky as well because, Turner guessed the right way and went the right way. But the power in that kick meant that Turner had no chance. In fact, if Turner got his fingertips to it, those fingers might have been bent back. But this was the formation they went with. It was the right back, Serginho Dest, who is on loan at AC Milan and still very much in contention for the Champions League. He's dodged a bullet by getting away from the Blaugrana, it has to be said. Tim Ream, of course, we all know as the Fulham centre-back. Anthony Robinson was at left-back, and Walker Zimmerman, the guy who conceded the penalty, but otherwise had a good game. This three-man midfield was key for me because you had the Juventus midfielder, Weston McKennie, the Leeds midfielder, Tyler Adams, who was captaining the side that day, and, of course, Yunus Musa, who was a former England youth international, just like Musiala, but has now changed his allegiances. And then, of course, George Weah's son, Timothy, was the right side of the front three, along with Josh Sargent. And, of course, Chelsea's very own Captain America, Christian Pulisic. And it was this right side of Destin, McKennie, and Weah which caused Neco Williams and his defenders a great deal of problems. And the way they were able to press and maintain that speed, thanks in part to their youth and their freshness and the energy they had, it sort of made Wales look a lot more sluggish than they actually were that night. And I was wondering just how Wales were able to weather that storm. Of course, Kiefer Moore came on, and then Brendan Johnson came to inject some pace of his own. But these three midfielders over here, this three-man midfield, is another reason why it is imperative that we maintain that formation. Because with the formation that Wales employed, the 3-4-3, which sort of transitioned into a 3-5-2, but which wasn't really effective, it had no real answer to the pace these three provide. And of course, Weah's pace and ability to run in and score that goal was also terrific. Sargent and Pulisic. Pulisic had a terrific game. So it's basically these six that could give us a tough game. And of course, Dest also was overlapping beautifully, as was Robinson. So this is the formation they probably could they probably will end up employing against us, and they will want to sick those three people against us. It will remain to be seen whether Gio Reyna comes or Ferreira come into the team. I don't think Berhalter will necessarily want to change this team, although maybe Josh Sargent could be dropped for either one of them. But I don't know if any of you boys saw the way the US play, but I was really impressed by the way they were able to continue to press. And so we could either have a situation where both teams cancel each other out, or England's experience might just be enough to sort of get through any possible gaps in this US formation. So, Oris, let me start with you. What if you had? I mean, I want to assume that you had the chance to see the USA play Wales that day. What did you think of the American performance, and where do you think the secrets to this game will lie?
For me, I thought USA was obviously they were 1-0 up, and then obviously conceded by Gareth Bale penalty, but they played good. If you look at the stats wise, they had 59% possession. They had obviously 6 shots. But when I saw the lineup, I was actually confused as to why they didn't start Reina. Man, I like Reina from Dortmund. I think he's a good player. But yeah, overall, USA, I think we need to look out for Adams, McKennie, definitely, man. McKennie for me, McKennie and Timothy Weah, man. Two of them, for me, they're both to watch out for England, man, because we've got obviously slow defenders. If you look at the centre backs, Timothy Weah is rapid, man. He is rapid. Same goes for if Reina does start. So for me, we need to look at those fast, tricky players that USA have. But overall, I think if you look at the centre backs, we can definitely like go past them because I've never heard. I mean, Sergiño Dest, one of them that's only I've heard about, and then the rest we haven't heard about. So for me, I think it's the centre backs that they lack quality, but I do like their squad, man. USA, man, they do have a good squad.
Yeah, I mean, I did mention that Tim Ream was a bit key part of the Fulham team, which has had a decent season, but they have obviously been up and down in a way. And certainly the experience that he has provided in that back four has helped in a way. But I guess in the end, when Wales brought on their substitutes and started to assert themselves, it was the inexperience of the Americans which cost them 2 points. And obviously when they decided to bring off the likes of McKennie and Musa and Weah, I think they lost a little bit of their edge. So that is something that could be considered. Elliot, what's your thoughts about this formation? Where do you think the USA could be attacked?
Like I said, perhaps their defense is going to be their weak point, but obviously they've got they got a good attack there. Where Sargent and Pulisic, they'll probably keep that attack for the game tomorrow. Everything else, I'm not too sure. I'm not too fond of the American team myself, but also I know players like Dest, Pulisic. I've heard of a few of these guys, but obviously Turner as well. I think he's obviously their best choice goalkeeper by far, of course. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they'll change it or not. It depends because obviously they did only get the draw against Wales, and obviously we are probably the strongest team in the group. So whether they do make a few changes, like say like Reina, add him onto the team, swap him out with someone, then yeah, perhaps they'll do that if they have more chance of winning. But apart from that, they'll probably keep the same squad, same formation.
Yeah, and I mean, we can take a look at the options off the bench. I know, as I said, that Aronson came on for McKennie, and then there was Kellen Acosta and DeAndre Yedlin. Yedlin is, in fact, the only member of the 2014 World Cup squad who is still around. So you can see that this is an extremely young squad, a fresh squad, but a squad that could suffer for their lack of experience in a way. And I mentioned that Jordan Morris was brought on near the end to try to add some strength, but never really was able to be effective in terms of trying to find a way past that Wales defence and Wayne Hennessy. Flair, what about you? We haven't heard from you.
I think, Wales, USA, sorry, not Wales. Yeah, they're obviously they are quite a good side, to be honest with you. Christian Pulisic provides pace. He's not, to be honest with you, I think people that say he's a bad player and stuff like that, I think maybe need to consider looking at him because I think that he's a very good goal scorer. He provides a threat. He'll definitely cause a problem for us, running and stuff like that. So he's definitely faster than all of our defenders, to be honest with you. So yeah, he supplies a lot of threat and he's definitely one that we need to look out for. Sargent as well. He's got pace, prolific goal scorer. So I think he'll also be one that we need to look out for as well. Sergiño Dest as well, obviously an amazing player. Probably one of the best players in this team. So he's obviously going to provide some threat as well in that back line. But Of course, not on our goal that much. He'll probably have a few attempts, a few pops at goal, but obviously, he's such a good player, man. Like he provides a lot for Barcelona and USA at the same time. So yeah, he's definitely one that will shine for USA. Matt Turner, of course, in goal, Arsenal boy. So yeah, he's obviously a great goalkeeper. I'm not saying that because he's an Arsenal, but he is a good goalkeeper. Yeah.
Isn't it ironic?
Saves.
Yeah, isn't it ironic though that when we bought Matt Turner, a lot of people were saying he'll never be good enough, and now while Ramsdale's on the bench, he's playing the games, and if he has another good performance, he might force a lot of us Arsenal fans to eat our words. What do you say to that?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I think whether he'd get a place over Ramsdale, that is a question. We'll have to see him play more games. Obviously, we haven't seen him enough this season to say that he competes against Ramsdale or gets into our starting 11. But as a backup goalkeeper, he's good. But I wouldn't say that he has enough potential to possibly overplace Ramsdale. But obviously, he's older than what would usually buy and stuff like that. 28. I mean, look, he's not really he's got potential, right, but not as much as people would think so. So at the age of 28, I mean, sort of when your potential starts to, shine out really and stuff like that, you get to see where your potential is at. So I definitely think that he's a good goalkeeper, but he wouldn't start for us.
I get that, but obviously he is now number one for the US, and the relationship that he will form with Walker Zimmerman and Tim Ream will be quite key, especially since, as Orest mentioned, they could perhaps be possible weaklings. And I'm sure we're not going to relish the prospect of Weah and Sargent Pulisic running at us. I think Sargent, will probably be running us and say, "Here, let's be having you," like any Sargent would do. Pun intended. And of course, a special word for Timothy Weah. His father was, of course, World Player of the Year, but never had the honor of playing in the World Cup for Liberia. So the fact that his son is doing it, albeit for a different country, is something that would warm your heart, fulfilling the legacy his father wanted, you could say.
100%. We do have 6 people watching, so make sure you guys do smash the likes. Big up Zohaib in the comments. And Hashim says, what about Captain America Pulisic?
What about
you ain't doing nothing, mate. You'll be in Luke Shaw's pocket. Hashim, so yeah.
Wait. Pulisic is playing on the left, so technically he would be in Kieran Trippier's pocket if Kieran Trippier is able to
Pulisic likes
handle him.
to invert on the right. He likes to go on the right. So we'll see. But
we'll see what happens. I mean,
lads,
obviously the
it's
right
coming home.
players.
Believe it's coming home. It's coming home. Argentina just lost the first match. Brazil, obviously, they won. Listen, Germany lost. So listen, it's coming home, man. Believe in yourself.
All right, calm
Brazil,
down, son.
Did you see
calm
Spain
down.
though,
Look,
man?
yeah. They spanked Costa Rica, and Brazil had a professional performance today. We need to keep some perspective. And look, I just said at the end of my watch along that you cannot make a judgment based on the first round of matches in the group stage, because look, the first round is now over. The second round will probably be one of the most important, because that will pretty much dictate the destiny of many teams. For example, if Argentina failed to win against Mexico, then that is effectively their tournament done and dusted, because Mexico will fancy their chances against Saudi Arabia, obviously, and then Poland should fill their boots, especially Lewandowski and company. And then, the third match will end up becoming a little bit academic. But if Argentina win both their games, they're home and dry, so they know what to do. And even Germany as well, let's not assume that they will, roll over and die against the Spaniards, because they also have the advantage of speed and youth on their side. I think they just took it a little bit too lackadaisically against the Japanese. Shocks are common. In 2002, 20 years ago, that tournament was riddled with shocks, from Senegal beating France to South Korea knocking out Italy to more than a few teams, failing to really shine as expected. Turkey made the semi-finals. They announced themselves as a serious team in that tournament. So, I think some people have made it clear that they would expect a surprise team to make the quarters or maybe even the semis. don't look beyond that happening. Anything can happen. So let's not start seeing it's coming home just yet. We've still got a lot of work to do. Yeah?
Yes, we have. We'll see. There's a lot of teams that could shock the World Cup. Obviously, you know, already Saudi Arabia, beating Argentina, but obviously they have to keep this form up. But we can't just go off on that one game.
I will say right now that Saudi Arabia have overachieved against Argentina, and Mexico and Poland will know that they have to not take them seriously, and they will beat them. I don't know about Mexico's strikers, but their wingers certainly look good. They should have enough about them. And of course, when you've got Robert Lewandowski in your side as Poland do, you know, he failed against Mexico with that penalty miss, but he should fill his boots against the Saudis. No doubt about it.
Yeah. 100%. Same with Japan as well, really. I mean, Japan are a pretty better team than Saudi Arabia, so they might have a good chance. But
yeah, they could.
They could have a good result against maybe not Spain, but Costa Rica. They should really, they could beat. But
yeah, definitely
Costa Rica. They could be the shock of that group because everyone probably expects Germany and Spain to go through, but Japan could take Germany's place in second.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why, I always say when it comes to Arsenal season as well, there's many a slip between the cup and the lip.
Yeah. Definitely.
But hopefully, I mean, it's an evening kickoff, so I think we can relax and sort of enjoy that. And of course, it's just before the weekend, so something to take us into the weekend. I'm assuming that all of you will be parked in front of the telly watching that match, yeah?
Well, I'll be out, but obviously I will be watching it still though.
The whole England nation will be watching, Manny. We'll be throwing beers around. We'll be, I don't know, man. Box park. Yeah. There's so many box parks in where we are. So listen, that'll be crazy, and rightfully so. So yes, cool. Yeah, 100%. But listen, for tomorrow, score predictions. Let's get our score predictions wise. I'm gonna say 2-0 England.
Okay. I'm gonna say. Oh yeah, goal scorers. Go on. Is that what you're gonna say? Your goal scorers?
Yeah.
I'd say.
I'm gonna say Kane. Actually, Kane and Sterling.
Okay, Kane. All right, I'm gonna go for 2-1 to England. Obviously, I'm gonna say Saka again, another goal, and I don't know who else. Maybe Bellingham. Maybe he can get another strike in, like he did. For USA, I'm gonna say Pulisic to score for the USA. Maybe Sargent, but yeah, I'm going to say Pulisic will get a goal.
Hashim says it's coming on. It's coming on, Manchester, man. Exactly. Hashim says Brazil solid as rock back with Thiago Silva. Manny, score prediction for tomorrow.
I'm going for a 2-1 as well, but my goal scorers will be different. For the US, it should be Timothy Weah to add another goal to his connection and further make his father proud. And as for England, I think it will be a tough game where, the speed of Saka and Sterling going forward will be more than matched by the midfield of McKennie, Adams, and Musa. Musa will definitely relish playing against his former countrymen, if you will. I wonder if he and Saka are in the same England youth teams. I'm not too sure. I might have to check that. That would certainly be a good talking point for tomorrow's watch along. But we will struggle, but we will win. And my goal scorers will be Jack Grealish and Marcus Rashford.
Okay,
interesting. Flair, what about you?
I think I'm gonna go bold here. I'm gonna say 4-0 England.
Okay.
Obviously, quite a surprise, but I think we've got enough quality. I don't think USA have enough quality though. So, look, it is a really, really rough call, but I'm giving hopes high. I'm looking forward to the match tomorrow. So I think 4-0 England. I think Bellingham will probably get a goal. Harry Kane get a goal. And depending on who starts, of course, because I can't really say goal scorers when I don't know who starts yet. But if James Maddison, if he was to start, whether if he'll score, I'm not sure. Maybe he'll get an assist or two, but I mean, I think Bellingham, Kane, maybe Kane again. So that's 3. Fourth, I don't know about Saka. I think Saka, because obviously he's on fire at the moment, good form. Scored 2 goals against Iran, so I think that he's capable of getting another goal.
Yeah, 100%.
But we do need to give credit to our back line. Maybe they might get a few goals, but they will at some point in the tournament. So we do kind of have to leave our predictions maybe, and just maybe focus a little bit on the back line as well as the attack. But obviously,
So you had Maguire who nearly scored.
Exactly. So you don't know, to be honest with you, when you make these predictions, but we do have to say sometimes the back line could maybe get a chance on scoring.
100%.
Just goes to show that baked beans and soft-boiled eggs are good for you, but on one condition: if you go to an Italian restaurant with the boys and you want to have a meal, leave your baked beans and your toast and your eggs at home, for crying out loud. I mean, if Ronaldo himself, a stickler for good nutrition, could want to go out and enjoy an Italian meal, for Harry Maguire to just bring his food to the restaurant and have them make it and say, this is delicious. I mean, he was taking the mick, really. But,
let's respect Maguire, man. He pocketed Taremi. He pocketed Taremi, man. Taremi from Porto, man. Listen. I'm still cautious of Southgate. Let's get it right. I'm still cautious of him because he can still bottle it. That's why I call him Ole Gunnar Southgate. Like instead of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ole Gunnar Southgate, mate. Because for me, they both have the same ideals or tactics. Like they both rely on individual brilliance. So for me, Southgate, stick with the back four, mate. Stick with the back four, not with the back 5. Obviously, there was reports, David Ornstein, before we went live, that Southgate will be starting with the same lineup, no one changed. So for me, Mason Mount, listen, I don't want him to start, man, but he will start, man. That's like saying, I don't know, I don't want Kane to start, but they will start. But Mason Mount, for me, is one that needs to be benched. But listen, he has to turn up tomorrow. And yeah, man, we'll do our lineup. So for me, obviously, Pickford in goal, back 4, Kyle Walker, obviously, right back returns from injury, and then centre backs probably have to be Maguire and Stones. Then left back, obviously, Luke Shaw. Midfield, Rice and Bellingham. Attack, for me, I would have Grealish as number 10, Saka on the right, Sterling. Actually, no, I want to have Rashford on the left and Kane up front.
Okay.
We're going to get to comments and then we'll get to lineups from Elliot. I want Mason Mount to come off bench. Yep, he is more effective off the bench. Elliot, your lineup for tomorrow?
Yeah, so Pickford's, Walker, Maguire, Stones, pretty much your same defensive, Luke Shaw as well. Bellingham and Rice, keep them 2. I'd say perhaps Foden instead of Grealish, and then Saka. Maybe you're all right about Rashford as well. Maybe Grealish in at number 10, and then Saka, Kane and Foden on the wing.
Manny, do you agree?
I think if we must drop Trippier to bring Kyle Walker in, then someone like a Maddison will have to come in. And the only problem is, I mean, if he were to come in, I certainly wouldn't mind having him in the centre of midfield where Mason Mount normally would be, and keep that Saka-Sterling combination. I love the Bellingham-Rice combination, which has worked quite well. And the lone striker will therefore have to be Harry Kane. But if something flares up and he can't play, Rashford would be a perfect replacement. But the 4-2-3-1 seems to be working. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. Just just tinker with it, make some changes if you want to be a little bit more circumspect and add another free kick specialist. I think, Flair, it was you who mentioned Maddison's free kicks, so well done you. I think I'd have Maddison in my team as the number 10 for, him over Mount and Walker over Trippier.
Yeah, Flair, what about you?
Yeah, I'd probably go Pickford in goal, Maguire, Stones as well. Right back, I think I'd go Kyle Walker if he's fit. Left back, Luke Shaw. Central midfield, Jude Bellingham. Central midfield again. Declan Rice. Obviously, I don't really rate him as a player. I think he's a little bit overrated for me, but yeah. I mean, for England, he can be solid at times. He shows up when he wants to be honest with you. So yeah, I think that he'll cause threat, but whether he'll start, and I think he will, but yes. So I'd do a Declan Rice, central attacking midfield. I'd go as Manny said, James Maddison, because obviously if you're going to play Kyle Walker over Kieran Trippier, then you need a free kick specialist. Also, Maddison's a really good player as well. I'd say he's better than Mason Mount. So, yeah, that definitely would be someone who I'd start. So yeah, James Ward-Prowse, Raheem Sterling at the left wing, Bukayo Saka on the right wing, and Harry Kane up front as lone striker.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But yeah, listen, for me, obviously my prediction 2-0. Listen, we have to win tomorrow. If we do win, we do qualify. So hopefully the players know that they must win this game. And then for the third game, we'll just play up second team, man. It's good to obviously rest some players. Yeah, man. Last of it, and then we'll wrap up. How far do you guys think England will go to the World Cup? So let's start off with Flair now. Flair, how far do you think England will be able to make to the World Cup?
Semi-finals, I'd say. As people say that Argentina got beat. That means nothing, to be honest with you. There's still games left. We've still just got to wait and see what happens in this next 2 games. Of course, Argentina, if they win their next 2 games, then they qualify. So, you never know, really, do you? To be honest with you. So, I think Argentina probably could get into the final, but depends how it goes. Depending on how their form is as well. So England, if we continue how we did against Iran, I don't think we'll get very far, to be honest with you. Obviously, it was a good attacking display, but defensively we were shambolic, honestly. Still managed to concede them 2 goals that we conceded. So yeah, definitely we'll have to change tactics, maybe just keep it balanced instead of, as I said, Southgate choosing that more of attacking tactics. So yeah, definitely I think semi-finals.
Yeah. Personally, I think quarterfinals is the furthest we'll get. I'm not saying that semi-finals is impossible for us, but I just don't think. I think there's so much quality teams in the World Cup this year. Like I feel like there's a lot. Like usually in the World Cup, there's like 5 teams who are good, but this World Cup there seems to be quite a variety of decent squads out there. So I feel like we'll struggle against quite a few teams. Like you said, yes, we won 6-2 against Iran, but those goals we conceded shouldn't have really been conceded at all. I mean, yeah, defensive display was quite bad. So I think that will definitely stop us from reaching the final and even going on to win it, because there's teams out there with better defense than us. So yeah, and obviously good attacking. So yeah, I think quarterfinals.
Yeah, Manny, what about you?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go for the quarterfinals as well. Anything beyond that would be absolutely terrific. And I know that it might sound a little bit, harsh for me to predict that, given that we reached the finals of the Euros and the semis of the last World Cup. But as people have pointed out, we had some fairly easy draws, and we weren't really tested in our run up there. And there are still some weak links in our team which need to be, ironed out a bit. And even if we qualify from this group as group winners, which could be expected, the passage to the quarterfinals itself, we could draw. We should be able to possibly draw the likes of Senegal, who will be determined to Give us a good game, and then the quarterfinals will be a different kettle of fish altogether. Will we be able to? I mean, we did beat a really good Danish team in the semi-finals to make it to the final, but I think our inexperience cost us in the final, and certainly Southgate's tactics and substitutions were, definitely not in our favour. But again, this stage also could see the more determined and hungrier teams end up coming through. And it also needs to be pointed out that even if we win tomorrow, there's no guarantee that we will qualify as group winners, although we will certainly seal our qualification, because Wales could beat Iran, and God forbid they could beat us. So it's still not written in stone. I think the quarterfinals could be the best that we could go with this team. And certainly once the likes of Henderson and others retire, we'll still have a good nucleus of players who can take us forward under a different manager who will certainly find a way to get the best out of all of them. And before we end this, there is one more small topic. Have you guys heard that new song, Football's Coming Home Again? It's by this fella, G. Watts Ranson, and some other guy, where they made a cover version of Shakira's Waka Waka.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I have.
How did you like it, Flair?
I kind of like it, Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean,
I wouldn't agree with the song. It's not. I wouldn't say it's coming home again.
There's another coming on version from I think is the. I don't know if you guys know about the £1 Fisherman. So he says, I think it was a long time ago, anyways. But
very, very good.
Yeah,
come on, England.
It's coming on. It's coming. Football's coming. Like, literally, I can't play it because of copyright. But the £1 Fisherman.
I think you can.
Yeah. Nah, copyrighting it. So YouTube.
I think as a child of the 80s, I would probably say the football songs back in the day were a lot catchier, and in some cases even nicer than the ones we've got now. If you've heard World in Motion, you will never want to hear another football song again.
John Barnes,
yeah. You got to hold or give, but do it at the right time.
Wally, do you want to sing the bread? Do you want to sing?
No, he won't get it. Well, if he doesn't sing the whole thing, then
World Cup.
Yeah, Speed's got the best song right now.
And your neighbour as well, singing that as well. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, my neighbours, the Sandy crew.
I don't like Speed, but
yeah, same.
He's not the most likable character, but I think people just like him because of the fact that he's just crazy.
People think that he's funny and stuff like that, but for me, he just makes a mockery of football. To be honest with you, and for football fans, like massive football fans, and they'll just think that he's really taking the mick out of football. So
for a guy who calls himself Speed, he's actually rather slow. And of course, I remember when Dizzy Rascal and James Corden made that cover version of Tears for Fears as Shout. I don't know. I mean, I could never really get behind it in a way. I mean, the rap was decent enough, but you don't mess with a classic like that. I'm sorry, you just don't.
Yeah, 100%. Last comment, then we'll wrap up. Hashim says, I want Ben White and Conor Cody and Trent, but we all know what Southgate will. For me, Conor Cody should never ever play for England. I'm sorry, but he's not good enough. He's not good enough, man.
I agree.
He's not good enough, man. You know what, man? He's doing that for. He's not good enough. Conor Cody, there's no way. Maybe in the back five, yeah, but not in the back four.
So you think that because Everton normally play in the back five, he does well, that's where Conor Cody is best, but not in the back four?
Yeah. But Everton, they don't usually play back five, do they? So they usually play with a 4-2-3-1 on the Lampard. So.
Well, then Conor Cody has been one of their best players this season, so I think that pretty much nullifies your argument then, son.
Listen, I still don't. So you're telling me you want Conor Cody and Harry Maguire to start together? That's for me.
No, he wants Cody and White to start. I think.
It depends where he wants Ben White to start.
If Trent's playing right back, then where's surely Ben White? Surely wants Ben White instead of back as well.
And then why would you put Ben White in the centre when he's played this entire season for Arsenal at right back?
Yeah, exactly. Unless he wants Trent in like midfield.
Greg AFC says more than happy for Richarlison to play every game instead of Jesus. Don't care about Brazil. Don't want them back knackered for Arsenal.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
100%.
But Richarlison's not going to get dropped from that today.
And this is the consequence, boys, of having the World Cup in December, because it interrupts the Premiership season, and obviously those who might be lucky enough not to get picked will probably come back fresher for the remainder of the season. All I can say right now is that if the tournament is never held in the Middle East again, with all of the issues and all of these scheduling issues, it will be too soon. Simple as that.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've discussed all topics, so we will wrap up there. As usual, we will get people to shout the socials. Let's start off with Elliot first.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube, DJ Cree, and Instagram at DJCree_, and pretty much any of the socials out there. Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah, you'll find me. Search DJ Cree.
Facebook, what are you doing on there?
All right, Grandad.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Oris, for doing this. Always good to catch up with you. It was a terrific review. And yeah, you can find me as usual on Instagram at MannyThangatherai1981, which is my full name and my year of birth. On Twitter, it's Thangatherai1981, which is my surname and my year of birth. And you can catch me on several other channels on YouTube. Big up to Oris Talks Football and the Coach's Corner with Hannah Trollope. Enjoy working with them. Really excited to be producing some good content for the World Cup. Big up, of course, to Stephen Featley, who's also producing some content. You can catch me on a few of his streams as well. Del Boy Gunner TV, Tony Claude Gunner TV, Danny AFC TV. Huge shout out to Up the Cherries in all departments, the Bournemouth fan channel. Do check out our episode, World Cup Cherries. We might be providing another episode later on the tournament, another episode or two. We'll see how it works. And yeah, I'm just happy. If I've missed any channels I've been on recently, I'll send you a check in the post. But I'm happy to come on and just discuss football with some like-minded people of all ages who enjoy the game, because it's not just about loyalty to our teams, a form of tribalism. It's about loving the game and being united in our love for the game. Love the flag, Elliot. Love the flag. I only wish I had one of my own. I'll need to get one for the next tournament. But anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in, everyone, and thanks again to Oris for this. To all of you who are watching, have yourselves a good night. Enjoy your Friday and the weekend. Stay safe, stay happy. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And until then, from me, I'm out.
We got money, and of course, Flair.
AFC.Flair on Instagram. I'm making more posts every day, so go check those out. I've just shitloaded a bunch of them on, so if you want to go check those out, obviously go follow me. Yeah, Twitter, I don't really post much on there, to be honest with you, because it's not really a platform that I tend to use a lot. But if you want to follow me on there, again, AFC.Flair. So if you want to check that out, you can. And thanks for having me on.
No worries, man. Obviously, big up all of you that joined today's stream. Big up everyone in the comments, man. There was a lot of comments for today, so big up yourselves. Make sure you guys do smash likes. I think we're on 11 so far, so let's try and get to 15 before our next stream. So if you're watching this on playback, smash the likes, subscribe. We're currently 6 away from 350, so you know what to do, guys, man. You know what to do. But yeah, man, you know where to find us, man. It's literally on the banner. Instagram, same name on the YouTube. For Twitter, RSS Footy, and then TikTok, same thing as well. So yeah, man.
I've got to go eat my Snickers bar.
There you go. Is it coming on, guys? Before we play the outro, is it coming on?
Yeah.
No.
Manny, you're on mute as always.
Not yet. I'll tell you. We'll see if it's coming home after the quarterfinals.
100%. Guys, smash the likes for Super Mikateta and Eric Tanag. We'll see you next time.